The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Written by Stephen Covey. Skill 1. Be proactive. Sometimes a person believes that he is the way he is because he has been influenced by third parties. For example, first of all, he was influenced genetically. That is, if your grandparents had a tough temper, it's in your DNA. Secondly, mentally. Your parents made you that way because, from a very early age, they said that you were worthless, that you would not succeed, and so on. That's why even now you are afraid to take on something, thinking that you won't succeed. And thirdly, you have been affected by your environment. It's all the fault of your wife, your boss, the current financial situation, or the policy of the government. That is, someone or something in your surroundings is responsible for your current situation. But in fact, a person can decide for himself what impact his surroundings will have on him. Each person has inner freedom, and it depends only on him what choice he will make. The term proactivity means that we are responsible for our own lives. Our behavior depends on our decisions, not on our environment. Highly effective people don't shift their responsibility to others and do not explain their behavior by circumstances and difficult situations. Their behavior is the product of their own conscious choice. If a person allows his environment to influence him, he becomes reactive. That is, if people around him treat him well, he is fine. If not, he becomes closed and takes a defensive position. That is, such person allows others to influence his emotional life. And proactive people don't depend on the people around them. Gandhi expressed a similar thought: we cannot be deprived of self-respect unless we give it up ourselves. So if you used to blame everything on others, today accept that you are who you are because of the choices you made yesterday. That is why some people see others all the time, being depressed all the day, while others retain amazing vitality, inspiring other people in this way. Many people are waiting to be guided all the way, or everything will happen on its own. Proactive people, on the other hand, take the initiative, find answers to questions themselves, and do everything necessary to complete the task. For example, a person can watch a video about selling something and say that it doesn't work in USA. He will not even think about how this can be rethought and applied in our country. He waits until everything is thoroughly chewed and put in his mouth. It's the same with skills. After listening to each skill, you need to try to apply it or adjust it to yourself. You can recognize reactive people by saying, "Yes, I'm stupid, I can't do it." Proactive people, on the other hand, say, "I can try to do this, because if you haven't tried, why are you sure you won't succeed?" Or "he calls me worthless." A proactive person will say, "I don't care what he says. You should only respond to constructive criticism." Or "I don't have the time, I can't do this." A proactive person will say, "How can I do this?" For instance, to start running, get up an hour earlier or set aside time in the evening. Or a reactive person will say, "If only my wife had been more patient." A proactive person will say, "How can I change?" That is, if you're always late and don't make time for your wife, it's obvious that she'll be unhappy with you. In the end, the speech of the reactive person is in shifting responsibility and the inability to make a decision. Proactive people focus their efforts on the circle of influence. They direct their energies to that which is within their control, and each time they expand it. Reactive people, on the other hand, waste their efforts in the circle of worries. They focus on other people's weaknesses, environmental problems, and circumstances beyond their control. This manifests in constant complaints and accusations. For example, if there is a frequent power outage in your area and you are left without electricity, then proactive people can buy themselves a generator and now have full control over this situation. A reactive person, on the other hand, will do nothing. He will only get angry and blame others. Reactive people always use the phrase, "if only I had." In this way, they allow external factors to control them. For example, if I had more obedient children or if I had more money, that is, they think that they could only change after what is changed externally. Proactive people, on the other hand, say I can be. For example, I can be more attentive and then the children will be obedient, or I can learn something new and make money from it. In this way, you take responsibility and work on yourself. Stop trying to remake anyone and work on your weaknesses. Imagine a situation that could happen to you in the near future, and you would behave reactively. Now think about how you would react in a proactive manner. The second skill, begin with the end goal in mind. Imagine attending your own funeral. Think about what words you would like to hear from your family, friends, or colleagues about yourself and your life. What deeds and achievements you would like to imprint in their memory. What kind of memory you would like to leave in their lives. Write down your thoughts. Skill 2 says that you need to start imagining the picture of the ultimate goal in your life today. And everything you do every day should not contradict the criteria that you have defined for yourself as the most important. The principle of start with the end goal in mind is based on the idea that everything is created twice. For example, you first design your house in great detail and only then start building it. Most of them fail in all areas because their development plan has not been designed. You can apply this method to anything, such as parenting. If you set a goal to raise your children to be responsible and disciplined people, you will not yell at them, but will clearly explain what is right and what is wrong, listen to them and help solve all problems. And when a child does something, based on your values, you will always make the right decision. The method can also be applied to work. If you want to become the most honest journalist, you won't settle for paid news or deceiving people. It won't allow you to get the value you've set for yourself. Most people live under someone else's script imposed on them by their family, coworkers, or other people's plans. They grow out of our deep dependence on others and out of our need for approval and love. For example, if your parents said be a doctor, then you will become one so that you don't lose their approval and love. So analyze your scenarios that you live by, and if they don't align with your goals in life, take responsibility and write your own scripts. Take a piece of paper and write down your personal mission statement. What kind of character you want to have, what contributions and achievements you want to make throughout your life, and what values and principles you need to adhere to. For example, I am clear in front of my conscience. I remember my close people. I'll always listen before I say anything. I don't judge other people. I listen to the advice of others, and so on. In this way, you will build the core that you will follow when making all your decisions. You must have a single, clear center that serves as the basis for the harmony of all aspects of your life. For example, if you are a blogger and you are offered to advertise something that will harm other people, then you will refuse, no matter how much money you are offered, because this offer contradicts your mission. Those who do not have such a mission will agree. Over time, you may revise your personal mission by changing or adding items that align with your beliefs. And all your actions should serve the realization of your personal mission. And after a while, once again imagine your funeral and what people will say about you, so you will understand whether you are going the right way or not. If your mission is to be a good father, but you're constantly snapping when your child breaks or messes something up, sit down and imagine yourself in a similar situation, such as if your child broke a chair. Imagine yourself in that moment, feel the floor under your feet, the smell in the room, the clothes your child will be wearing, and instead of imagining your usual reaction when you're ready to flare up, imagine yourself handling the situation with the love and self-control that is embedded in your mission. And if you do this day after day, your behavior will change, and you will not react sharply to such events. You can imagine any difficulties you may face in life and imagine your reactions to them. In this way, you program yourself on a subconscious level, and when you actually find yourself in this situation, it will already be familiar to you and will not scare you. You can create a mission not only for yourself, but also for the whole family. Define a mission together with your significant other. Print it out and hang it on the wall so you can see it every day. An organization can also make a mission by putting it in a place where every staff member can read it. For example, IBM executives emphasize personal dignity, the highest quality, and excellent service. And when an employee fell ill on a business trip, and his wife in another city was very concerned about it, IBM employees hired a helicopter to transport the patient to the airport, and there they transferred him to a special plane to his city. It cost them many thousands of dollars. However, IBM values its employees and values the individual. This is one of the pillars of the company, and therefore they adhere to it. Third skill: do what needs to be done first. Organize your activities based on priorities. To begin with, try to somehow organize and systematize everything you need to do during the day, week, and year. To do this, keep a journal and take notes. The fourth skill is to think in terms of win-win. If you want everyone on your team to work together and share ideas, don't reward just individuals. For example, give tickets only to the best. By doing so, you create a situation of internal rivalry, since the success of one manager means the failure of all others. There are 6 paradigms of interaction between people. First one, win-win. This paradigm means that both sides win. In this case, people will cooperate with each other in order to get a reward together. The success of one person will not be achieved at the expense of another. Second, win-loss people with this mindset tend to use their position, power, fortune, or personal qualities to get their way. It says, if I win, you lose. It can be used from early childhood. For example, when a child is compared to another, the other child thinks that if he doesn't achieve something, he doesn't deserve to be loved and isn't valuable in his or her own right. Then the same scenario manifests itself in school when you are assessed with other students. Therefore, the educational process is based on competition, not cooperation. It then manifests itself when a person gets a job. In most cases, people compete with each other, and this affects their behavior and attitude towards each other. The third paradigm is lose-win. Such people say things like, "Come on, do whatever you want with me," or "I'm willing to do anything to keep the peace." Such people are willing to please and please, lack the courage to express their own feelings and beliefs, and fall under the influence of strong personalities. That is, in negotiations, this means surrender and retreat. People with a win-lose mindset adore them because they can live off them. But if a person constantly has to restrain his emotions, they still accumulate in him, and this can turn into excessive anger, rage, or an inadequate reaction to the slightest irritation. Fourth, when two selfish win and lose natures converge, neither of them will give up to the other. That is why the result is inevitable lose-lose, that is, both lose. Fifth, 1. People with this mentality don't necessarily want someone else to lose. It doesn't matter to them, it's only important for them to get what they want. Such a person thinks in terms of self-interest, leaving others to take care of themselves. For example, if 10 people have an accident and your child is among them, then you will not care about the others, your goal will be to save your child. And the fifth paradigm is not to mess with. Here you are not trying to manipulate your companion in any way. You tell him directly, "I want to come to a win-win result." And if this cannot be done, then it's better not to conclude an agreement at all than to make and implement decisions that don't suit both of us. For example, parents who ask their child to do something, such as playing musical instruments, drawing, etc., they may tell him that if he doesn't like it, they'll just find another way to discover his talents, but they won't force him to keep doing it. That is, both win again. Always try to put yourself in the other person's shoes and describe in detail your idea of how they see the solution. In this way, you will always know how to come to a win-win decision. Skill 5. First seek to understand, then to be understood. For example, if a child comes home from school and says he doesn't want to continue studying, many parents will tell him not to fool around. Education is the foundation of his future, and that if he studies as well as his sister, he will enjoy it. They said all this without even knowing the real reason why he suddenly didn't want to study. If you don't learn to listen, your relationship will gradually break down. Then these people say, "I don't understand my son, he just doesn't want to listen to me." Now think about this sentence. To understand another person, you need to listen to them. We, on the other hand, are filled with a sense of self-righteousness and are guided by our life experience. We want to be understood, so we try to impose our point of view without listening to someone else's. A good way to get someone to know what they really want is to listen to what they have to say, understand their feelings, and voice them along with their words. For example, your son says to you, "That's it, I'm sick of it, who needs this school?" You might say, "Are you sick of this? Do you think that no one needs school?" The son may reply that there is no benefit from this study and that it is a waste of time. You also ask the question, simply by repeating these words, do you think that school is not good for you? And in this way the child will open up to you more and more. In the end, he'll tell that the teacher embarrassed him in front of the whole class by saying that he reads at the second grade level. Sixth skill. Achieve synergy. The essence of synergy is to appreciate the differences between people. Differences in mentality, emotional and psychological differences. For example, if you enjoy developing games and your whole team gets together to discuss the mechanics or design of the game, and everyone gives their opinion and view on the game, then this is insanely inspiring for every member of the team. When you fall into a state of synergy, you lose the flow of time. But some leaders, like school teachers, limit the freedom and creativity of staff and students, thereby destroying the spirit of creativity, entrepreneurship, and synergy. So don't limit people in expressing themselves. In this way, the openness of some people influences other participants and a common creative empathy emerges, where each person begins to understand each other. Skill 7. Sharpen the saw. The seventh habit supports and develops your most valuable resource, yourself. Your physical, spiritual, intellectual, and social-emotional well-being. It means that we must develop them regularly and consistently. Physical fitness includes exercise and nutrition. By strengthening your strength and endurance, you will have more energy, and fatigue after work will be replaced by energy. Spiritual states include clarifying values, studying, and reflecting. The author reads the Bible every day and meditates on the wisdom of the Holy Scriptures, as it is in line with his value system. Some meditate or find peace in communion with nature. Find something that calms you and do it every day, reflecting on the meaning of life and the ultimate purpose of our existence. A Buddhist once said that he meditates from the very early hours of the morning, and all day after that, in his thoughts and heart, he carries the peace of those morning moments. The intellectual state includes reading and planning. Many people stop studying after school, they no longer read books, but spend their whole lives watching TV. You, on the other hand, should read various literature as often as possible, as it makes us smarter and broadens our horizons. And the social-emotional state can include empathy and synergy. Here, try to listen to other people every day, take their point of view and make decisions based on mutually beneficial cooperation. That was the end of the book. Subscribe to the channel, like, click on the bell and leave any comment.